What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Stella Herself podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in this week, the podcast where we learn how to better ourselves to create a better world. Thank you so much for tuning in this week, and don't forget to join my Patreon if you haven't already. It is up. Episodes are posted early there, and they are ad-free. There will also be things such as upcoming projects that will be free to the Patreon members, as well as merch discounts, extra episodes, and all of that. So if you want to show your support, feel free. Thank you so much. So I really today wanted to talk about how to stay motivated to be your best self. One of the questions I always get is, how do I stay motivated? And I think you just really have to look long term and look past the initial discomfort or awkwardness or feelings maybe of stagnancy that you currently feel or that one feels when you're starting something new, or, you know, say you're looking to build a business or lose weight or whatever, get up earlier. It's like you have to have realistic expectations for yourself, and you have to keep pushing forward, because of course something is going to be hard when you've never done it before, or when you're just starting out. You know, you're not going to feel the same way you do on day 1 as you do day 100. You're just not. And so just staying consistent is really important. And I think looking for ways that makes consistency feel easier and automizing a lot of your routine can help a lot. And those are things you can actually control, rather than motivation. You know, sometimes it's very fleeting. Sometimes I wake up and I have my coffee and I get so much done in the first couple hours of the day, and I just feel like in that flow feeling and everything is great and feels easy. And then other days it's not as much like that, but I still know that I need to get up and make stuff happen. And on those days, it's so much easier to have a system where you kind of already know at least the bare minimum of what you have to do in order to at least take one step ahead. This weekend, happy Memorial Day weekend. I mean, it's like last weekend at this point, but how was y'all's weekend if you're in the US? If you're not in the US, it's basically like a 3-day weekend. And I mean, obviously it honors, you know, those who have served, and, you know, we remember those people and whatnot. It also just really signifies the beginning of the summer. So there was a lot going on. We're going to get into a little story time. On Monday, I think it was, I was so exhausted. I had a time, you know, we had a really fun weekend. We as in me, myself, and I. There were still things I did to not make it a complete waste of the day. I still went to the gym. I still got my 10K steps. I still went to the grocery store. I got some healthy foods for the week. You know, we still made things happen. I did some emails. It wasn't like a 10 out of 10 productive day. I didn't do everything I wanted. I didn't go above and beyond. But at least there are things that kind of feel automatic to me at this point, such as going to the gym, that I just know I have to do and that are like the bare minimum. So if you can set your days up like that and have basically a list of non-negotiables, that's just going to make things so much easier and kind of just put you up a level than you were before. So don't rely so much on motivation, because to me, I really don't think it's about motivation. It's about, okay, what's the next step? What's the best I could do today with the energy, time, resources, emotions I have, you know, today? Because it's not like you can automatically always go to like blissful motivation. Some days are like that. If a lot of days are like that, and especially when you get into like the flow feeling and stuff, there are things you can do to work on that as well, especially if you're a creative. But I think as far as like motivation, it's just like, okay, what is your goal? Again, is it like business related? Is it you want to work for yourself? Is it fitness related? Losing weight, gaining a certain amount of muscle, whatever? Is it I want to take this trip this summer? And then what are the steps I need to take to get there? And just looking at things from a more logical, like what's the next step? Like what is my plan way? Instead of, oh my God, I need to feel like the best and most motivated every day, because it's just not realistic. Life happens. We have different energy levels each day, especially as a woman, you know, with our monthly hormone cycle. Every week is going to feel a little different just based on that alone. And you could be the most motivated on top of it person and still have days where yeah, I wish I felt more motivated and energized today, and I just don't. So focusing on what's the next step, what's on my to-do list, what can I kind of automate or just have as a non-negotiable. It's like, okay, at least I'll get these things done today. And then also just associating certain things with feeling good. So for example, if it's really hard for you to get to the gym, doing the little things like having a cute gym outfit, having a cute water bottle, friends that are also into that, and they could be online friends. Like me and one of my friends, he literally lives in a different country, but we both are very much on our gym and eating healthy vibe and like ab workouts. And so we will FaceTime sometimes at the gym or just kind of like throughout the day as maybe one of us is going to the gym at a different time. And like, it's just fun to have someone that you can relate to and talk about, and you kind of motivate each other. So it's also about, you know, if you don't have a friend like that, it's also about leading by example. So if you start going to the gym and really getting in it, I'm sure you'll inspire those around you, and then you guys could do it together. And if not, you know, there's always more people out there. Maybe you're just outgrowing your current friends, so don't like lose hope. But you know, joining online communities like the Stella Ray podcast community, okay? There's like a chat feature on Patreon, which I think is so cool. Throw back the Discord. So like you guys could chat with each other, and that's also part of why I have like my Instagram page and all of that. People who are interested in self-growth and being our best selves. So yeah, like rewarding yourself for when you do good, and just making the process just enjoyable and fun with those little fun things like a cute outfit. Or sometimes, you know, it's so annoying to have to sit down and do something, but it's like if you just make it aesthetic, like, oh, I'm that girl today. I'm going to have my coffee and my lemon water and a healthy meal. I'm going to sit down and my desk is going to be clean, and I'm going to like focus for an hour and then take a little break and then this and that, you know. It's like you can kind of make it fun and just ask yourself also, what is it that you need? Because I know for me, some days, like I just really feel like, oh my God, like I do not feel like doing this. And I know myself well enough at this point in my life. Like I know if I feel that way mentally, it's probably because something is off, maybe emotionally, maybe physically, maybe I just really need to rest. And then I rest and the next day I feel 10 times better, you know? So it's also about practicing self-awareness. And again, being realistic, you know, not every day you're going to feel 10 out of 10 motivation, productivity, energized, you know? Like you're just not. Again, especially as a woman, and like each week, again, is so different with our different stages of our hormone cycles. So just really listen to your body. And I think with that, like sometimes it feels counterproductive because you're like, oh my God, like say you just started your period, or you're about to start your period, and you're just so exhausted and hungry and like just not in a good headspace. And you get annoyed because it feels like a waste of time to be like laying in bed all day. It's like, oh my God, I'm so lazy. I should be able to push through this. I want to work on my goals. But the more in tune you are with your body and what it needs, the more aligned you'll actually be overall, and the faster you'll actually get to your goals, because you're giving your body the nutrition it needs, the rest it needs, and instead of just pushing through. And then like, what's that quote? If you don't choose a day to rest, your body will choose it for you, you know? And think of all the examples of people who are so quote unquote successful, famous, rich, like at the top of their game, and then they're hospitalized for like, I mean, I feel like a lot of the time that's also like drug use, and then they just say, oh, it's from exhaustion, but it's like, I mean, honestly, both, you know, or, you know, people just have to rely on drugs and alcohol and substances just to keep going because they're kind of just living an unhealthy lifestyle. And like, unfortunately, a lot of the time that does pay off, but I'm basically just advocating for health and looking at it from a holistic perspective, because I think having goals and wanting to get to the next level and really pursue what it is you're passionate about is so great and important, but I don't think that that should come at the cost of your health, your well-being, your relationship with yourself, or anything like that, you know? So just keeping all of these things in mind. And then also, speaking of coming at this from a holistic perspective, I recently made a TikTok about this, but for the past few weeks, I'm so proud of myself, y'all. I stopped going on my phone first thing in the morning. I have been doing like a 10 to 20 minute meditation first thing. And that almost immediate impact this has had on my anxiety levels and just feeling present and grounded in my body throughout the rest of the day. It's actually astounding. And I was talking about in this TikTok how when it comes to meditation and yoga and, things that kind of make you present and are designed for you to quiet your mind and rest your mind specifically, I have found throughout my years of, having times where I do it more, do it less, I don't always feel immediately more relaxed after, or if I'm like really anxious and I'm like, okay, let me meditate, I don't always feel immediately better after. But the long-lasting effects it has, again, throughout the rest of my day, and then once I've been doing it every day, so just overall, I feel so much more in tune with my body, grounded, just very in my body, and I'm better able to tell when I'm doing an unhealthy habit, like doom scrolling, or when you just kind of get sucked into TikTok and you're not even really watching any of the videos, you're just scrolling, and it's like, why am I doing this? Like, I will actually start to feel like, not like sick, but just kind of like anxious and like just very noticeably not enjoy it. And I think that's a good thing, because I don't think that is a healthy thing to do, Obviously, it's not the worst thing you could do out of everything. But I think that's just something interesting to observe. And to me, just in these past couple weeks has really proven to me how holistic all of these things are. On one hand, how damaging certain habits can be, such as going on your phone first thing in the morning or right before you go to bed, just getting all these different opinions and like this constant weird amount of dopamine over and over, and how it does kind of make you, at least for me, it makes me very jittery and just kind of like, I just don't feel grounded, centered, and in my body. And instead, I feel a lot more like I'm able to think clearly, make better decisions, and really just think things through, take the best path, because I'm just a lot more present and in tune with my body. And it's just interesting because, a lot of the times it's like, I know, okay, I should like not go on my phone in the first hour of the day or whatever, but then it's like, okay, well, I'm sure it won't make that much of a difference. Like, I don't feel that different not doing that, da-da-da. And then it's like, you do. So just keeping all of these things in mind. And if you are one to feel very like anxious a lot of the time, or just not energized, not your best self, I know talking about that like the feeling of motivation. If you're not feeling your best self, there's something you can do about that, whether it's getting your vitamin levels checked in your blood, doing a blood test, just looking at your daily habits. And maybe you think, like, I always think, I'm healthy, but then it's like, oh, there's still things I can change and do to feel even better. And it's not striving for perfection at all, but I think just getting to a place where you can be very present and ask yourself, what is it that I need right now? Again, it's not about being perfect. Like I literally said, I went out this past week, balance, and then also overall, again, being present and being like, okay, like what is it that I need right now? And then I think even if you are one to go out, like, and things like that, it's like you can even practice being present in that instance. Like, okay, do I really need this next drink? Or do I really want to go to a second location? Do I really want to do this? And you can kind of just feel out the vibe, and you're less likely to just kind of make decisions based on what other people want or like what you feel like you should do. And you can actually ask yourself, what do you want to do? I think especially as a woman, this is very important, because so often we are kind of conditioned to please other people. We don't want to cause a nuisance. And it's just like, okay, whatever, I'll put my own feelings aside. But like, it's very healthy and strengthens your self-confidence and self-esteem and just improves your life so much when you can ask yourself what it is you truly want in each situation. So I wanted to tell you guys just a quick little story. So there's this place called Gitano, NYC, and it's on Governor's Island, which I had never been here before, but it's basically this little island, like, off of Lower Manhattan, and you take a ferry to get there. It's like a 7-minute ferry, and my friend was like, oh, do you want to come to this party there? And I was like, oh my god, that sounds cute, like, never been, and never have even taken a ferry out here yet, so I was like, yes. So I had like a cute little day. I actually literally vlogged this whole day on my TikTok, and I wish I could post it on other platforms, but it's like over a minute long. Anyway, it was like a day. Like, I was out all day, all night. It was just very much meatball day antics, like fun. And I was just honestly like by myself for a lot of it. Like, I was like meeting up with people and stuff, but like it was just honestly really fun. So I had no idea what to expect when it came to this place and like taking this ferry and all this stuff. If you've been there, this is probably like NBD to you, whatever, but I had never, like, what is this? So I was a little nervous to take the ferry because I'm like looking at the ferry times. I'm like, oh my God, like what? Like, you have all these drunk people on this island. Like, how does everyone know when to take the ferry? Like, what if you miss the last ferry? Like, I was just like, I don't know how this works. I don't know how strict they are. Like, I just don't know the vibes. I took the little ferry by myself. The vibe of this place, it was interesting because on one hand, I met a lot of different people and I like made a lot of new friends, and I was like, this girl recognized me from the vegan days. It was so funny. She was like, oh my God, like, I used to watch your vegan videos. I was like, this is so random. Because we had like a mutual friend, and I just thought I was like making friends with a girly pop, and she was like, oh my God, no, I actually already know you. I was like, oh. But it was so interesting because the vibe of this place was giving very much influencer. And I just feel like most of the places I go, if I'm going out, like, I don't typically go to places like that. There were so many gay guys, but then it was like, I feel like also all the straight guys looked like they were gay. Like, you know, just like influencers. So it was like very interesting, but I wasn't having a bad time. It was just kind of odd. And then looking back, especially as you're like drinking and like just in this new place, thinking back to it, it literally feels like a dream, because then I'm looking across the water at Manhattan and like all the buildings, and then the full moon is like in the sky looking huge. I have the perfect view of it, and I was just like, where am I? Because it's also very odd because, I mean, it's really pretty, this place. I don't know if it's a restaurant or like it's kind of like a club lounge type vibe, but it's almost Tulum themed. So they have all these palm trees. The whole thing is sand. So you're wearing your heels, like sinking in the sand, getting sand all over your shoes. And then there's this giant disco ball, and it's just kind of like, where am I? It's really cool because you're in New York, and you just don't have that vibe in New York typically. But it was just very odd. And again, like, I don't know. It was just like, oh, there's all these gay guys. But then, like, some of them are straight. But they look gay. And it was just like, I don't know. This guy started talking to me. So y'all know how I've been watching just a lot of Sheer 7 and, like, I just kind of am at the point now, my brain is fully developed. To me, the top priority in a guy is not that he be like so cute, like the cutest guy. And that's not to say I like talk to ugly guys. But you know, it's like there are other things that are way more important. And I think a cute guy can be kind of a red flag because it's like, why are you the cute one? You know, like I need to be the cute one. And that doesn't always work because a lot of cute guys are just kind of used to being chased by women, and it's just, I want like a nice masculine man, you know? We can't both be the girl in the relationship. It's kind of like, you know, as you get older, it's like, I don't want the cutest one. I want the most man of a man, you know? And also, like, this guy wasn't that cute to me personally. No offense, but he was conventionally attractive and like tall and like wearing his little outfit. Like, I literally was bullying his outfit. But basically, my point in sharing this is that it is so fun to get to that point where, I mean, it's so fun to be single and just be able to talk to whoever you want and like just have fun. And it's so fun. I know you relate, girl. It is so fun to troll guys, especially when they're cute and you know they're used to girls like being all over them and to just be the one that humbles them is so fun and funny. So he was obviously trying to like swag, like he was obviously like trying to rizz me up. I was like entertaining it in the sense of I wasn't like, ew, go away. I was like, ooh, let's see like what kind of little tricks we can play. So for example, he asked me to put my number in his phone. I saved my name as Duh. And I'm like pretty lit at this point off the tequila. We only drink tequila. I mean, I'll drink like wine or like a spritz or something. But if I'm drinking liquor, it's going to be tequila. I think a lot of people say this, but to me, like I won't think that I'm drunk. For example, I remember when I first like moved out on my own and was kind of like I've never been a huge partier, but when I first kind of like got into even drinking at all and going out, I would just drink vodka because I didn't know the vibes. I was just drinking what people like had or what other people drank. Vodka would make me very messy and like that white girl wasted, like you can't walk straight, like you're like all over the place. And tequila makes me like, I will stay so on point. I will be fully like lucid, conscious, and like aware, you know? So love a tequila because it just kind of makes things fun and interesting. And then, I mean, looking back, it's like, yeah, obviously I was like lit, but anyway. And I told this story on my TikTok, but he's like, why did you save your name as Duh? And I was like, you did that. And he was like, no, I didn't. And then he was wearing this little like mesh shirt, which I'm like, that's another thing. It's like, what straight guy wears a little mesh shirt? Like, or it was like crocheted. I don't know. And I was like, oh, where did you get this shirt? And he was like, oh, do you like it? And I was like, is it from Boohoo Men? And he was like, no, it's like from a very nice thing. And then he kept trying to like put his arm on me and things like that. And I just would be like, don't touch me, like stop. But I mean, he was like here for it. Like, it's just so funny when you realize they love when you play hard to get. Like, they love that. Have you guys seen the TikToks of that girl who's... She's like calling guys from the bar and gaslighting them into thinking that they met Francesca Stugat. And she will call these guys. And I think it's funny also how many guys just answer the call and like, go along with it. But she'll be like, you don't remember me? We met over the weekend. And they will like go along with it. It's so funny. But yeah, so the vibe for the summer is to have fun. And to me, having fun just means like I'm going home by myself at the end of the night, you know? Like, I can go out, have fun with my friends, troll, get my little drinks, and then go home. Bully some cute guys. Not believe anything they say, period. Go home. It's a great, like, that is really... If you've ever been to that place on Governor's Island, I would love to hear your thoughts. It seemed like a lot of people had been there before. So I just want to know if anyone has the same vibe or has the same take as me, because it was so interesting. I'm like, would I go back? I don't know. The full moon ambiance was there. It's Gemini season, you know what I mean? Honestly, it kind of, something about it gave White Lotus. So I am very excited for the rest of this summer. It has just begun. And I just love Gemini season. I think it is just such a fun and fresh time. Truly, this time of year, like mid-May, I guess it's end of May now, just that early summer, the anticipation for the rest of the summer. It's not too hot yet. There's all these flowers. Everything's getting to be so lush. The weather's getting consistently nice. It is just so fun, you know, and refreshing and exciting. This is truly, honestly, the best time of year to start working on your goals, taking those steps, becoming your best self, leveling up, all of that, because everything's really in your favor. You know, it's nice outside. Do you guys feel like you just look better in the summer? You know, we're like outside more. It's just like we're happier. Especially now before it gets too hot, you know? So definitely make sure that you check out the TikTok vlog because it is so funny. I would also love to hear what your thoughts are on staying motivated and how you stay on track, and if there's any tips and tricks you have just to stay consistent and all of that. Don't forget to join the Patreon if you haven't already, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye, everyone.